Hello guys, in this video today I'm gonna show you how to take your images from looking like this to this just by using the turn curve inside Lightroom. Let's jump straight into it. So what is the turn curve? Essentially this is just a tool in Lightroom that most beginners are afraid of, and by all means it's actually pretty complicated if you look at it for the first time, but once you understand it, it's actually a pretty powerful tool. So this turn curve is basically a tool that allows you to adjust the brightness of any given area of your image, such as the blacks, which can be found in this corner right here, the whites, which can be found here, and in between we have the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. We can adjust the overall image in the RGB section, which can be found right here, and we will affect all the colors at once, or we can just play around with all the individual channels such as the reds, the greens, and the blues. So far the definition sounds pretty straightforward. Now to understand what this turn curve actually does, let's go back to the photography basics to better understand how the turn curve affects our images. I'm gonna pull up this image right here that starts from white and goes all the way to dark. So if we select this, we see what are the points of the darkest dark, and if we select this, we're gonna see the parts that have the brightest bright. So our digital cameras are always looking to capture the darkest dark and the brightest white point of any given shot. In the meantime, the camera captures things such as shadows and highlights, and it piles all this information together in what we call a picture. When we shoot pictures in RAW, we just get a lot of information about all those colored points. We see that we are in the RGB channel, which will affect the overall image. Now, if we bring this slider all the way up, you can see that it removes the dark in your image. Now, if we go to the opposite side and we bring this all the way down, you see that this just takes away all the whites in your image and you're left with the pure black. And on the flip side, if we move this slider to the right, it will do the exact same thing, which is remove the whites in your image by compressing them. And the exact same story with this slider right here, it will just remove your blacks from the image. You can also go into each individual channels and adjust them accordingly. And if you go to this red channel right here, you will see that you can find the red in your images, and the opposite of red in digital photography is green. So if we move this all the way up, you will increase the reds in your images, and if you bring this down, it will add the greens in your images. Now, if we move on to the greens, you can see that this can be increased from here, and the opposite of greens are purples, which can be increased from this slider. And we have the blue channel as well, and if we bring this all the way up, it will add blues to the image, and if we bring it down, it will give us the opposite of blue, which is yellow. This is really important to know, especially if you want to increase or decrease the amount of color that you find in your images. So for example, if your image has a lot of purple in it, you can increase the amount of greens and you will balance it out and you will get an even photo. Also, you have pre-installed presets that you can use for medium or higher contrast that you can use to speed up your process and make little tweaks to adjust the curve for different photos. So let me just quickly reset all channels and go to the point curve here where we can find the presets and just select medium contrast. What this will do is we'll just adjust your RGB channel just for a little bit to give you a medium contrast. And if we were to select the strong contrast, as you can see, these lines are dragged much more. Now that you understand the basics, let's just get a photo and let's play around with the turn curve and see how this really affects our images. So right now I have a picture of a model. With the tone curve, what you can do is you can pick up a specific point in your image by clicking on this button right here, and you can drag it up or down to increase or decrease its brightness. Okay, so let's select this area, for example. Let me just quickly reset this channel. Okay, so let's say that I want to manipulate what the greens in this area look like. So if I just hop over to this area, and if I drag it above the line, you can see that I make it brighter. And if I drag it below this line in the middle, you guessed it, you make it darker. So right now let's jump into the actual edit. What I want to start off doing is just manipulate the greens in the image a little more. So I will just select this button right here and just select the greens in the image that I would like to be affected. And I can just drag them a little more. Okay, and as you can see, the whole image got a little darker right now. Okay, I will just manipulate this a little bit more till I find the place that I really like. And as you can see, his face also got a lot darker, which is not really something that I'm looking for. So I will go over to this section right here and just put it back on the line so I get a little bit more light onto his face. Okay, and the same story applies to the midtones. I will just drag them back a little more. Okay, and as you can see, I've already made a lot of changes in the image just by using those two points. Okay, as you can see, the image looks completely different, but I don't want to stop here. What I want to do is I want to go into the green channel and manipulate this as well. So the other thing that I will do is just select this one more time and drag it a little bit down, just because I don't really like the tones of that green that much. Okay, and as you can see, I've barely touched it and it completely changed the whole look of the image. So I will just increase that a little more. Okay, and as you can see, it balanced it out. Okay, now I will just go ahead and remove some of those purples in the image. Okay, and now I want to hop onto the blue channel as well. And once again, what I want to do in here is just concentrate on his face a little more. Okay, so I'll just bring this down a little bit. Okay, and increase this. Okay, and as you can see, his face is a little bit too red, so I'll hop onto the red channel. Okay, I'm just gonna delete this point and I'm just gonna concentrate on his face. Okay, dragging this a little bit down. I'll add a little bit more of those. Okay, and the image just got a completely different vibe. Now I'll just go back to the RGB channel, and this is another trick that you can use in your own edits as well. You can drag this up a little bit, and as you can see, the image starts to get that old film look. If you over exaggerate with this, okay, you will get some really bad colors. But if I just play around with this, get this here, just to get some more color and some more light onto his face. And there we go, guys. I've just made some basic changes, and all I've done in this edit is just using the tone curve. At this point, what I can do, I can just add a little bit more light to this image, just increase those highlights, just play around with the midtones as well, once again, just to add some more lights. And this edit is pretty much done. Let's just deselect this and see how the image actually looks like. And I haven't touched the basic panel at all. Okay, you can see that I have only used the tone curve, and this is what the end product looks like. And that was it, guys. These are the basics of the tone curve. The best thing you can do now that you have the knowledge is to go out there, shoot a bunch of pictures and experiment with your own photos. In future tutorials, I will show you more ways on how to use the tone curve in different situations and how to take advantage of it at maximum level. But for now, take all this knowledge that I've shared with you and just play around with your pictures, because the best way for you to actually understand this powerful tool inside Lightroom is just by using it. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.